What's up, guys?
Hello.
So, nakita niyo naman yung topic natin, which is about how does Kevin Quiambao stack up against the best PBA local stars. So, just to clear everything up, we're not gonna discuss the guys that are in Japan, or basically the players that are outside the Philippines, because that will just make things more complicated. This podcast will just be, or rather the topic will just be focused on the PBA, kasi sa UAP I think we can all agree is the best player in the UAP
Yeah, probably
already,
the
right?
best.
So
I
let's take
mean,
it a notch higher. Let's try if may maibubuga ba si Kevin Quiambao sa
in the
local
pros.
PBA stars. Yeah,
In
yeah.
the
And again, everybody be nice to both of us. We're just doing this kasi number one, the UAAP is on a break. And we're kind of in a strong group high. We
yeah.
cause
Hello.
we're in a strong group high. The PBA playoffs are about, well, it already started.
They're
Nag-start na yung
starting.
semi.
Yeah.
So more of nagkakasabay-sabay lang lahat. We just thought of this topic. It's great. It's a great topic for discussion. Hopefully
Yeah.
it's all level-headed, but knowing that we'll post this on YouTube and Spotify, we know that we will get some reactions, both positive and the
And
negative.
like,
So
yes.
let's give the five criteria. Is it the right term? The five criteria? Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
the
Criteria. I'm not sure, man. I don't see that.
the five categories to at least put, like to put this in a vacuum. So
Yeah.
there will be five categories: scoring, passing, defense, b-ball IQ, and leadership. So ang mangyayari is we will compare KQ, this PBA star, and then we will choose, kami ni Mario magde-decide kung kanino namin bibigay yung nod.
The edge.
Basically, kunyari, KQ and Kobe Bryant. Scoring,
Hey,
give to Kobe.
I mean, I mean,
So parang
that,
ganun. So
that's
five so at the end of it all, like kunyari KQ to Kobe, 5-0 to Kobe Bryant. Ganun. So didiscuss
yeah.
namin like kanina namin bibigay, and it's gonna be fun.
I just want to like add right before we start doing all of this that we know Kevin Quiambao is younger than all of these dudes,
Oo,
right?
alam na
It
natin.
is, it is we need to bring that out here that Kevin Quiambao is not at the maturity level, is not at the experience
Tama,
level
tama.
of these 5 or 6 or 7 people that we're going to be talking about. But with what he's shown in first the UAAP, right? Especially this season, where he became the MVP and everything, and then now what he's showing us in strong group, and even what he's done before in Gilas, it needs to reach a point in which we have to understand how good actually
Wait,
is
pero yung Gilas
Kevin
stint
Campbell.
niya wasn't that.
When did he
Wala
last play
masyadong
Gilas? I
impact.
kind of forgot.
Nung qualifiers, 'di ba? Nung kalaban nila yung mga New Zealand, and that yung kasama yung sina Kiefer, natambak tayo New
Oh,
Zealand
okay,
nun.
never mind. No, not the Gilas.
Qualifier, not the Gilas, wala pa talaga. It's more of what he has done recently.
Yeah.
So, again, yung i-compare natin na players with him is right now. We're not gonna talk about their previous accolades. We're just gonna talk about right now in a vacuum, those five categories. And kailan natin bibigay? Scoring? Is it to this person? Passing? Is it to this person? And so on. So,
Yes.
it's an interesting topic that we just thought about last night. So, the first guy,
While we were watching the game, we were just like, man, how good is
oh, yeah,
KQ?
yeah, how good is KQ?
How
Tapos
good
biglang,
actually is
so
KQ to
pag
be?
nilagay mo siya sa PBA, yan, nagsimula na lahat
Yeah,
ng
that's how it
theories.
started. Yeah, exactly. That's why we're here now.
Oh,
Exactly.
first player that we're gonna compare him to. Would you say this is in no particular order? Let's say
Yeah,
just no particular
yeah,
order.
no particular
Inayos
order.
lang namin in terms of para hindi masyado uminit yung ulo ng mga
Yeah,
fans of this
yeah.
specific players. Kasi lahat, alam niyo naman, we're gonna talk about it. So una, from the NLEX Road Warriors, Robert Bolick. Robert Bolick, I know,
Babes
hindi
volley,
si... Yeah,
babes volley.
Babes Bolick. And yung parang criteria na ano dito, yung more of how we're gonna do this is put KQ and Bolick side by side. Ilagay mo si KQ in a team. You put Bolick in a team.
Who can do better, right?
Yan, who can do
Who can
better.
do better in certain things, right?
Okay.
Okay. So
So sa
first,
scoring,
we gotta talk about Robert Bolick in general. We have to understand Robert Bolick primarily is a
oh yeah,
scorer,
Mr.
right?
PBA expert. This is your
Yeah,
alley, by the way. Kaya kinuha si Mario.
yeah.
He's
Barely a
always,
PBA expert. I just love watching the PBA and like,
yun nga, I mean like
uh,
PBA aficionado, PBA
yeah,
uh I watch the games every time I can. Ganun.
Yeah, exactly.
Ganun.
So first, like
Ako
what
bago
we've
lang ako, new fan. Well,
what we've talked
2-year
about
fan. Yeah.
is like Robert Bollick in general. We know him. He's a scorer, right?
Okay.
Robert Bollick in general, period, flat out, is probably the best, if not one of the best, if not the best scorer in the PBA when he's fully healthy, when he's in condition, in full condition. Because obviously, right, he came from whatever stint he just came from. He's not gonna be um at that level that he was before, especially after a long layover. But we saw, especially for those NLEX fans, we saw Robert Bollick is still that guy offensively, right? Like but what we've noticed more is now Robert Bollick is a much better playmaker than when
Actually,
he first.
hindi ko nga alam na ganun pala siya dito sa NLEX. I thought na okay, pag nakuha namin si Robert Bolick, we're gonna expect scoring, we're gonna expect some all-around performance, but not the level of passing that you have seen right
Exactly.
now.
Yeah. So I think it was something he developed, I guess, when he was in Japan, if I'm remembering correctly.
Pero
Probably
hindi
something he
natuloy
developed.
ba? Pero 'di ba kasi nagka-issue yung thing niya with Japan because of his wife?
I think he
Naging
played for like 5 games. Played for like 5 games. Obviously, he trained with them for a little bit. Also, I'm sure he played for a bit because I remember seeing some stats about him. Um, but he's obviously gotten a lot better in that stat in the category of passing, right? And we know Kevin Quiambao. First of all, the first thing we knew about Kevin Quiambao was not really his scoring, but it was actually how good of a passer he was. He is, right? So when did we first see KQ like grow? I think it was when shucks. Trying to think of when it was the first time we saw KQ as an insane passer. Maybe rookie year DLSU? What do you think? Rookie year
lumabas na yung
DLSU?
flashes, lumabas na yung
Yeah.
flashes. Especially nung actually nakikita mo yung of course sa chemistry no. So right now sa strong group you don't see those passes yet except that alley-oop to Robertson. And that's
What a beast.
it's me and it's mainly because of chemistry.
Yeah,
They
exactly.
those 10 days of training. Ano magagawa mo ng 10 days, 'di ba?
Exactly.
So you have to teach like okay, what kind of plays na madali matutunan or at least something that will maximize the strengths of your imports. I mean, they are the guys that you brought in, so why not build around them, 'di ba? But it's just that KQ has just parang not forced himself, but it just sort of happened that whenever he has the ball, all is well. Parang ganoon no?
Yeah.
Hindi ka
Yeah.
kakabahan eh.
Very. Yeah. Plus, we've seen him. He he doesn't look like a local player, right?
He
When he's
doesn't
playing for
he doesn't he
Strong,
doesn't play like a
he
local
doesn't play
player.
like a local. He
So
isn't
far,
just.
in the 3 games.
Yeah.
So far in the 3 games.
You'd assume with a team like Dwight Howard, Andre Blatch, Mackenzie Moore, Andre Robertson, that the locals will most probably just take a backseat to these former NBA players. But Kevin Quiambao, first of all, he's turned into Klay Thompson, Steph Curry, whoever you want to call it. He's turned into an absolute sniper during this strong group
'Di ba?
program, and we
Off the
saw it.
catch, off the dribble. Sabi ko, lahat
He even had
ginagawa.
that mid-range pull-up over Zach Lofton yesterday, right? So he is evolving more and more as we grow. So let's answer the first question. In terms of scoring, who would we
Okay,
rather
game.
have between Bollick and Kiambao, right?
Bolik ako.
Personally, it has to be
Bolik ako sa
still be
scoring.
Robert Bollick. It still has to
Robert
be
Bolik ako sa
Robert
scoring.
Bollick.
Yeah.
Right? You got to give the check to Robert Bollick. You Robert Bollick is a once in a lifetime generational offensive talent. That is clear
Once in
cut.
a lifetime.
I mean, once in a generation. I mean, we've seen. To be fair, yeah, I would argue he what he can do is not regular. Or when ever since I've been watching the PBA, it hasn't really been to that caliber. Maybe we've seen it in guys like Mikey Williams. Maybe we've seen it in guys like CJ Perez, who we'll be talking about later also. But
Yeah.
he
Yes.
is an absolutely amazing offensive talent, and you can genuinely call a system a Robert Bollick system,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
You have no problem calling it a Robert Bollick system. So I think that's why you gotta give the scoring nod to to Bollick, right?
Mm-hmm. Passing.
Uh,
As of
okay.
this point in their
As of
careers,
this point in their career,
I think
hmm,
Bolik.
I still think it goes to Robert
Bolik.
Bollick. Yeah,
Bolik.
Bolek is much more mature, I'd still say, because we still see KQ. He has those moments where he wants to make the flashy pass, where he
Yeah.
wants to make the big time play, which is a normal thing for players in college. Still not as mature as these dudes, so you still got to give it, I think, to Robert Bolek. And but it's close.
It's
It's
close.
close.
Hindi siya
It
malayo.
is
It's
close.
close.
It is
But since we're
close.
doing just like, just the check, it's easier for
Exactly.
everybody to understand. Mahirap na pag nabigyan na tayo ng numbers eh. That's
Yeah.
kasi that's where people will definitely like, hey, that's supposed to be a 9/10.
Yeah, so we're not basing it all just off we're not basing this all just
Hirap.
on stats, right?
Actually,
Because
mahirap
like it's
talaga to.
impossible to just
Dude,
base it off
imagine
on
if
stats.
if what we talked about in the chat went out today. It's great. We will get flamed for days. But it's nice that we
Yeah,
had like a day to just process it. We just had a day
yeah,
to like, okay, we
that's
could think
true.
about it clearly, not while a game is going on. But
Exactly. Because
defense.
while we
How
were
about
watching
defense?
KPS,
So far 2-0, 2-0, 2-0 to Bolik.
yeah, Robert Bollick, yeah.
Defense. Ako bibigay ko yung defense
I think
kay
he has to go to Kevin
KQ.
Quiambao. I think he has to go to Kevin Quiambao as well. Especially now, right? He I think there were points in the game yesterday where he was the one defending Zach Lofton. And there
There
were
were
points
there were a few moments nga na napupunta siya kay Lofton. Especially pag nafa-foul trouble na si Robertson.
Robertson, which he did foul. And not to say
She
that
did
Zach
foul out.
Lofton, not to say that Zach Lofton didn't score against him. Zach Lofton can score against anyone, but KQ
Yeah.
did a lot to stop Zach Lofton. And to think that the last time we saw Zach Lofton, he dropped 30 something points for Meralco. That's
On
not,
the on the average, on
yes.
the
So
daily, that's his average.
exactly. So that's an import, right? Zach Lofton is an import, and you're putting Kevin Quiambao basically as your import stopper, aside from Andre Robertson, which is hands down not something I think you can do yet with Robert Bollick, right? Robert Bollick is a decent defender. He's that type of guy who will get you those like strip steals when the big man's going for the layup. Type of guy who would who could steal the ball from some guards sometimes. But overall, defensively, in this regard, we have to consider rebounding, um, general like movement on the court. I think Kevin Quiambao deserves the nod on this
Defense 2-1 is the score in favor of Bolik. Basketball IQ at
one.
this point of their careers. Shit.
Ooh, ooh,
I've,
ooh. Damn.
you have
Okay.
to think about kasi yung situation rin ni Bolik ngayon with NLEX. He doesn't have the pieces. I mean, fuck, hirap nito. Napakahirap nito. Kasi imagine if he had
Basketball.
Thomas Robinson or, an import that's at the level of a Thomas Robinson. So
Thomas
basically
Robinson.
NBA level. Kasi it hirap nito, man. Like imagine kasi
Eh,
KQ has like 3 NBA guys on the
yeah,
team
but
right now.
at the same time though, we also
Basketball
saw Kevin
IQ in a
Quiambao. We've
vacuum.
seen Kevin Quiambao do this in the UAE. We all taking into account though, he had Evanelli in the UAAP to calm him down whenever it's getting
Actually,
very
mm,
very stressful.
mm.
So I don't know. I would
I
still
think it's a
say
slight
he goes
nod
to Bolek.
to Bolik. Okay,
I
okay.
agree. I agree. I think this goes a little bit. The
Pero
hesitation
di
there was
pero
little.
matetest, it will get tested next year. Wherein
Yeah,
he's the de facto leader. So yung basketball IQ, if he manages to lead LaSalle next year with he's gonna be the main guy. Walang ano eh. Wala pa si Baclaan and Cortez sa
yeah.
87.
Official na ba yung
88
kay
pa yung mga
Baklaan?
ano. Ay, sorry. I'm not deleting that.
Oh
Itagayan
my
na lang sa
god.
bato. Sige,
Oh my god.
it's already out there. I
Oh
mean,
my god.
just guess ko lang naman
I,
yun ah. Guess ko lang naman yun ah.
oh well,
Ano?
you're not wrong. You're
It's
not
just a
wrong.
guess.
You're not
Yeah,
wrong.
pero I think if he manages to if what they call this if Kiambao manages to lead the Sun next year to another championship. Kasi favorites UP eh, ulit.
Really? Oh, okay. I'm trying to.
Bakit?
I don't know.
It's just KQ, Mike.
Hey, that's a lot.
Oh,
The UP lost a lot in Malik, but we'll talk about that some other time, obviously.
yeah, that's a different topic.
Yeah, but
Tagal pa
I
you
think
up.
I think there
So
it is
yeah,
not
3-1 in favor of
Robert
Bolik.
Ball. Yes.
And leadership so far, yung kay KQ kasi, leadership right now, as of now, I think I would have to give it to Bolly because
Like,
leadership
I
right
agree.
now, hindi pa natin nakikita
Yeah.
season
We haven't
87.
yes, we haven't
We
seen
can
him
revisit
thrown
this.
into that. Exactly. I agree. So maybe in the future when we've seen him in season 80, whatever, 88, 87, we haven't seen Kevin Quiambao in that role of um leader,
The main
sole leader.
talkative guy, yeah.
Yeah.
Kasi si Evan
We
yung
haven't
nakikita natin na yung
yeah.
nagdadaldal talaga getting his guys.
Which is very valid because Evanelli is
Mm.
a cerebral basketball mind. And so that's absolutely valid that it's not Kevin Quiambao yet. So I think for this one, the Bolic Kevin Quiambao matchup, although
4 to
uh,
1, but it's close.
it,
May tatlong
yes, a lot
categories na
of these were
close.
close. A lot of these were close.
Sa scoring lang
But
malayo.
yeah, I would agree. I would agree.
Oo.
That's scoring lang malay. And personally, the
Di
defense, I think
defense
medyo
malayo. Yeah, yeah,
lamang na
yeah, yeah.
lamang si KQ dun.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
as of right now, against Robert Bolick is still that guy. And to say Robert Bolick isn't that old yet, right? I think Robert Bolick's still probably in the prime of
He's
his career. So Robert Bolick is still probably one of the best in the PBA.
Robert Bolick age.
What is he? How old is he? Let me check. And
Robert Bolick age.
oh,
28. So,
yeah,
Kevin
not
Quiambao
old.
age. Kevin.
23, 24.
Alam ko 22. Ayan, 22 nga. 22 si KQ. So, 6 years. He's senior.
So imagine what KQ will be in 6 years. If it's this close right now between the two of them in some categories that we personally see, obviously, I just want to put it out there that these aren't the only things that happen in basketball, right? there's way
Hmm.
more. There's way more to basketball than just scoring, passing, defense, basketball IQ, leadership. But these are just the things that we think right now is what we can discuss based on what these people have done.
Chris Newsome, second guy that we're gonna discuss. Chris Newsome of the Meralco Bolts. Sadly, they lost to the Phoenix
Phoenix.
Fuel Masters.
But I don't know. To my knowledge, we're gonna do another podcast regarding the PBA
Tomorrow,
play.
yes.
We will
Let's
be
do a
recording another one,
yeah, yeah. We have another one
but
tomorrow.
but yeah, I will be
Were you
talking a lot
disappointed?
about.
Would you say you were disappointed kay Newsome or more of
Okay,
he did or
um,
you're more on the camp that he did his best kinapos na talaga?
we have to take it. We'll discuss more about this again tomorrow. But like I said, a lot of take it into account is that Meralco dealt with a lot of injuries this year. Okay, Maliksi was injured for a long time in the regular season. Aaron Black, Cliff Hodge messed up his ankle so bad during the first game of their
Oo
series,
nga
right?
Gulat nga ako na
Yeah.
naglaro siya sa second.
Me also,
Anyway,
but that
tomorrow
man,
na yun,
that
tomorrow na
man's
yun.
made of that's a Lego man, right? That's what they call him, right?
Lego
Um,
man?
yeah, something because
No.
he can put his body together. That's this whole thing. Anyway,
Jesus.
to go
Okay.
into this is that Newsome and KQ in terms of scoring,
Scoring.
oof, I might have to still give it to Chris Newsome.
At
I
this
still
point.
might have to.
Because
I
we're
still
talking
have to
about
give
their
it to Chris.
current age now. We're not talking about their age at 22. Kasi
Exactly.
didiscuss natin at 22 yun. Senior
Tambak na
KQ
yeah,
baby
tambak
tambak.
sila. Yeah. So
Kasi
that is not.
Newsome just got better in the PBA. Parang mas na-refine yung scoring niya sa PBA. In Ateneo, you could say that it's because of Coach Bo letting his players create for themselves, which
Yeah.
in turn, I don't know if it helped them for the better, but yeah, that's not the
Plus,
point. The point is 22
yeah.
years old KQ versus current age Newsome.
Yeah, it's not the it's not a fair matchup to put them at 22 at the same time. So
Yeah,
currently we still gotta go Chris Newsome on this, though, especially after his Gila stint. This Gila stint, that guy Jordan Clarkson probably taught Chris so many new things that he could bring to the PBA court because he's
mm-hmm.
been a much better 3-point shooter. He's been much better. He's always been a great mid range shooter, and he's still explosive as ever. As compared to KQ is still a beast offensively, right? We were gonna keep repeating this. KQ is a beast offensively, but at this point, obviously in their career, Chris Newsome is still a bit more refined in terms of offense.
How about for passing? For passing, I think I will have to give it to
I gotta
KQ.
go to KQ. I gotta go to
Yeah,
KQ. I think
passing was
KQ.
never Chris Newsome's bread and butter.
Yeah, but he's gotten better. Obviously, he's gotten much
Yeah,
much better. But
but as a primary Arsenal, like I would
he's
have to
always
give it
been
to
looking to
KQ.
score. I think KQ as well is the better passer and the smarter passer in that regard.
Mm-hmm.
Not to keep talking about the same game we watched yesterday, but he made the art of the entry pass is like still is a crazy tough art that people kind of forget. People think that making entry pass is easy. It's not easy to make entry
Andre
pass.
was having troubles with his entry pass to Dwight yesterday. It was like 3-4 turnovers.
Exactly.
Kasi
right?
mahirap eh. Mahirap
It's a very tough thing to do, especially
Hmm.
the defender of the other team yesterday is pretty tall. So, but
And
KQ,
they know it's going to Dwight. They know there's
yeah.
like
So
two,
you
three guys in the main
exactly,
at the
so
same
you
time.
know exactly where the ball is going. You have a maybe a 6'8", 6'9", 7 foot player in front of Dwight, and you're able to throw it pinpoint. I think KQ has the advantage over Chris in this regard.
Defense, ito Newsome, malayo. Malayo.
Okay, okay.
Malayo si Newsome.
Malayo si Newsom
As of
post Gilas.
now.
Post Gilas,
Oh,
malayo si Chris Newsom post Gilas because, like I said, whatever they did to him during with Jordan Clarkson at that time has turned him into a different monster,
Chris
right?
Newsome's 33.
And he's getting better.
Yeah. Eh sa PBA,
He's
iba
getting
naman
better.
yung trajectory ng age sa PBA compared sa
Yeah.
NBA. Sa
So
NBA, 33
defense,
is old na. Bababa na yan.
I mean, caliber of the NBA is insane, man.
That's
We've
that's
seen it.
different. That's different. We're talking about PBA.
Yeah, we've seen it firsthand. The caliber of the NBA. We've
Mm-mm.
seen Andre Roberson score 30 something in practice and everything. Dude. The caliber is
Bro.
right. So Chris
Basketball IQ.
Newsom, hmm,
So far, Newsome, ano
2-1.
2-1? 2-1.
Basketball IQ. Um, I still go with Chris. I think you still have to go with Chris Newsom on this. Chris Newsom has probably a lot more experience than Kevin Quiambao, which gives him the advantage in basically a lot of these categories. So I still think you got to go with I completely cut off. With Chris Newsom for the basketball IQ, and same for leadership. I think we can make this argument for literally all the
Mm-hmm.
players that we're going to be talking about. Is that we haven't seen Kevin Quiambao thrown in that role of I am the leader. You have to listen to me. I will everything that happens from this point on, I will bear the weight of. Chris Newsom, we've seen this guy throw his heart onto the court in the PBA. Even uh, the first game of the PB of the series against Phoenix, Chris Newsom was 3 for something, 3 for 14, 3 for 15, 3 for 12, shooting terribly the whole game. But at the end of the day, he took that shot at the end to tie the game, bring it to overtime, and a tough shot at that, right? Chris Newsom, in both regards, I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. I think Chris Newsom takes his matchup again 4-1
4 to
against
1.
Kevin Quiambao. Yeah.
Mas malayo ba yung lead ni Newsome kaysa kay Bolick, kay Kiambao?
Oh,
Wait.
honestly, I'd say it also is quite uh tight between the two of them. I put Bollick and Newsom in the same ranking, so I would say it's still quite tight. Some things that Chris is better at than Robert Bollick, and some things Bollick is better at than Chris. So it makes sense that both of them won 4-1 against Kevin, but all of these 4-1s are that close, and it
Considering
shouldn't be
the
that
age
close.
gap,
Yeah,
6 to
it
11
shouldn't
year
be that
age gap.
close.
The age gap is 6 to 11 years. So,
It should not be that close.
I mean, that's the point of the pod. It's just to
Yeah.
discuss like how close is he at this specific point of his, young
It's crazy
basketball
that
career. Na
it's
22
crazy
year
that
old,
we're
kino-compare
talking about
natin sa kanila no?
it's crazy that we're talking about a player in his third year, second year of college, compared to players in their 10th, 11th, 12th
Mm.
year in the PBA. So it just gives a lot of credit to KQ.
Mm. Next one, CJ Perez. He's always been
Scoring,
known for scoring. He's always
scoring,
been
you
known
gotta
for
give it to
scoring.
CJ Perez, okay? CJ Perez has proved it in the international stage that he can score for Gilas. CJ Perez has proved in SMB you can give him the ball, he's gonna make the shot at the end of the day. Granted that he's surrounded by incredible talent in SMB, but like even when he was in Terra Firma, you could give him that ball, he's gonna get you a shot, and it's probably
That's
gonna
his
be a good
role.
shot.
Yeah. Yun naman
Exactly.
talaga.
He and Bollick are
Although,
basically the same player.
although,
Basically the same player.
although, passing and defense, baka bigay ko kay KQ.
That is KQ. That is KQ by, not to be rude or anything, but that is KQ
So
by a
so
mile.
far 2-1. 2-1
2-1 goes to
for
KQ in this.
KQ. Passing and defense kay KQ right
Yeah,
now
I agree.
over CJ. Pero yung scoring
CJ's never
malayo
been
talaga
known. Yeah. CJ's
malayo
never been
talaga sa
known as a good
scoring.
defender, good passer. Yeah. So I think
Mm.
2-1 right now to
I think
KQ.
that's what limited him from playing in Gilas dito sa latest World Cup, 'di
Maybe.
ba?
Maybe. Plus, can't
A lot
have
of
that many
factors.
guards. You
Plus a
can't
lot
have
of
that
factor.
many guards.
Yeah.
You have a
Kalaro
Jordan Clarkson.
you had
You have
Clarkson,
a Jordan
You had
Clarkson.
Kiefer Ravena, you had
Yeah,
you had Roger
you'll be
Pogo.
fine. You'll be fine figuring that out, right? In terms of
At
basketball IQ, I think we still go here for the first time. I think we gotta still go with Kevin Quiambao. I
Kiambaw
think
ako dito.
personally. Who you think CJ?
No, Kiambaw ako dito
Oh,
sa
you think I
People
think
Like
it's
You.
Quiambao as well. I think it's Kevin Quiambao as well. Just because um CJ is to a certain point when you watch the PBA, is his first goal always is to score. And with a mindset like that, sometimes all you kind of take yourself out of the game, or sometimes you take your
Mhm.
teammates out of the game. So that's where Kevin Kiambao, I think, has a little edge over CJ Perez. A lot of these things, right, is because CJ Perez has been ever since he's been growing, ever since he was young or whatever, has been groomed and everything to be a scorer. Okay, so it's just how he's been brought up. I think it probably I forgot who he said his idol was before, but I'm sure I remember Kevin Campbell saying in an interview his idol is Nikola Jokic,
It's
and
Sabonis. And Domantas,
it's a bonus,
Sabonis.
and it's a bonus, right? And it patterns well that KQ can do basically what they are to their teams is what KQ is for his team, right? So for leadership,
Si ano to,
uh,
feel ko si Perez to because Perez is the more as we have seen what Perez can do already. So
I agree.
obviously, so far sa leadership kay Perez, si again, hindi pa natin nakikita kay Kiambao yung the his willingness to assert himself
Himself,
to
yeah,
his
I agree.
teammates. Wala nang Nelly next season eh. Sundo natin makikita.
I think that's when we'll see it the most. So right now we're talking in hypotheticals. In that we have never seen KQ in the role of I am the score, I am the leader. Probably we will see it next UAAP season, and I don't know. Probably by the time another pod will be brought out to discuss how what we think KQ will be able to do in that regard. But I think KQ should be able to lead DLSU quite well, especially considering this guy is learning so much right now in that strong group. He's learning from some of the best minds in basketball, not even just locally, even abroad. He's learning from Brian Gurjan. He's learning from Topex, who's his coach. He's learning from Coach Charles. He's learning from I think Coach Kaloy. I'm not super sure.
Coach
Uh,
Kaloy, yeah.
right? Yeah, yeah. So Coach Kaloy. So he's learning from so many people, which is gonna make him probably a great leader when the time comes.
So the KQ beats Perez here.
KQ, I
3
think
to
KQ
2.
in this regard. Yeah, but again, close,
This is in a vacuum.
close,
This is in a
close. Yeah,
vacuum
yeah,
grading.
yeah.
So another I mean, it's not part of the criteria, but team fit is another thing that you have to ano, diba? You have
Yeah.
to take into
Yeah,
account all of that. But
that's true.
so far, ito
Yeah,
yung 5 natin. This is how we're gonna base it for now.
taking it into account that a team fit, CJ Perez is surrounded by
Yeah, he's always
Junmar,
surrounded
Junmar
by
Fajardo,
Junmar,
Joe Fajardo, Chris Brock,
Bowtry.
Jericho Cruz, Motau Tua, Marshall Lassiter. It's a list that the
Si Terence Romeo ba?
Terrence
How
Romeo,
is he
Don
this year? He's alright,
Soliano.
'di ba?
Yeah, we've
Dude,
seen the
Don
flashes of
Trollano's perfect
Terrence.
for SMB, no?
Yeah, dude,
Sobrang
dude,
solid ni Don Trollano.
dude.
Namiss ko yun sa NLEX.
SMB,
Nung trinade ng NLEX, sabi ko, well, you can't have Trollano and Bolick together.
yeah.
It's gonna be crazy as
SMB, SMB is incredibly built. Okay, it's not close. But
Uy,
again, like I said,
pakinggan nyo yung podcast namin tomorrow, PBA Playoffs
yeah,
preview.
yeah, a lot of
Uh,
things will go down there.
so KQ beats out Perez in the
She
5
did.
categories
In
that
the
we
five
gave.
categories.
Next up, Calvin Oftana, scoring.
Oh, oh, Calvin Oftana. Calvin Oftana probably takes
Beda pa
scoring.
yun. Beda pa siya ganyan.
Yeah, Calvin Oftana has to take
What's
scoring.
Calvin? Is
Just
he 6'8"? Is he 6'8"?
nah,
What's his
I'm
real
not
height?
super. Let me check.
Because
Actually,
KQ, I think, is 6'5". He's not 6'8".
I
Calvin
cannot.
Oftana.
Sorry, I cannot type right now.
Oftana age. I search for age. Calvin
Height
Oftana height.
1.96 meters. So around 6 foot 2, 6 foot 3. Not sure.
6'5". He says he's
Six
six
foot
foot
five.
five here. So
Yeah.
same
So
height.
Calvin Oftana is a much better scorer than KQ. Just shooting alone, KQ is a much improved shooter now. We've seen it multiple times in a lot of these games. KQ is a great shooter now, but Calvin Oftana is on a different level of shooting in the PBA. Probably the best. If he just focused primarily on shooting, he'd probably be the best
But he has
shooter.
Clay vibes. He has Clay Thompson
He
vibes.
does have Clay.
Whenever
I agree.
he
Clay
has the
Thompson.
ball, tapos open na, wala na eh.
Yeah.
Who
Plus,
would you take
it's a
though
scary
sa catch and shoot na tres? Heading
It's
or
scary.
Oftana?
Oh,
Just the
oh.
catch and shoot.
Just catch
Catch
and
and shoot.
shoot, off catch and shoot
Oh,
alone. I think you gotta go
sobrang
Jordan.
close.
I think Jordan Henry. I
Heading,
think
no?
personally, because Jordan Henry literally
Iba yun.
spends hours in one spot shooting the
Just
same
shooting
shot
the ball.
over and over again, right? And we gotta give it to this also. Going back to Calvin and KQ. Calvin Oftana
Yeah.
is the first option now for TNT. Calvin Oftana is the first option for TNT. Roger Pagoy has come back, but you still give the ball to Calvin Oftana. Jason
Yeah.
Castro is probably
I
the
think they're
best, if not one
pretty
of the best.
sure sino na yung
Yeah.
top dog.
Give that ball to Calvin Oftana, he'll figure something out. And
Pero
not
pag
even just that.
if nandun si
It's
Mikey
Calvin.
Williams, does Calvin slide down to the 2? Or you think na kunyari Mikey Williams this like in a perfect world, Mikey returned this season nung itong kakatapos lang. If he put if he was in this lineup, would he be the first option sa TNT or number 2 na ngayon after what
Would
you have seen from Oftana?
between Calvin Oftana and Mikey Williams, who would be
Mikey. Oh,
in that scenario? Who would
the
be
top
the
the top
first?
scoring option.
Uh,
Mahirap rin. No? Like, 'di ba, who do you defer to?
um,
Or is
obviously
it like LeBron and
Mikey's a different
D-Wade na
level.
parang hati
Yeah,
na lang sa
like
hati?
you can
So
take it at some point.
50-50.
To be fair, a completely healthy TNT lineup is a scary TNT lineup, especially since we've seen Relier, I think his name's Relier Jefferson.
Yeah,
Hall
really solid
Jefferson.
rin pala. I
Relier,
didn't think that he was that good.
I
I didn't
did
think he was
not know
that
he
good.
was that good. Relier is a baller.
I thought it was like a Blake Griffin, Taylor Griffin kind of thing na
Like a
afterthought
Giannis
yung
Thanasis
kapatid.
type of thing.
Kala ko
Like,
ganun.
and,
Tapos biglang,
and,
nung napanood ko si Ralier, sabi ko, shit, galing nito ah. Sa EASL.
then he drops 50 and something. I was like, okay, I was wrong about you by a lot because that man's a baller.
Sobrang
Anyway,
mali
that's
rin
the
ako.
point.
Who knows? Diba? I mean,
Yeah.
sino ba? Di naman natin alam lahat,
No,
di ba? I'm
yeah,
sure
yeah,
the Filipino fans would be like, wala sila masyadong expectation kay Ralier.
yeah.
That's why even the commentators just like, oh wow, Ralier.
Yeah, wow. And bro's good. I'm not real. Bro's probably gonna be an import again in the PBA for
I'll
another
take
2 years.
Ronde though. I'll take Ronde. Iba pa rin yung ano ni
Ah,
Ronde eh. In terms of
well, yeah,
marketability.
Ronde also. Yeah.
Okay, wait. So scoring to Calvin
Scoring to
over
Galvin.
KQ.
Yeah.
Passing.
Then
KQ.
passing, you KQ, malayo.
1-1.
Malayo,
Defense,
malayo.
KQ.
KQ.
2-1.
Not that malayo, but
Kamusta
still. Calvin Ostan is a much improved defender, but you would rather have KQ defending somebody not in a scenario.
I mean, like, put
Basketball
Lofton.
IQ.
Hindi mo ilalagay si
Hindi mo
Aftana kay
lalagay si
Lofton.
Calvin. Yeah, no
Lofton.
disrespect to Calvin, but you're not putting Calvin Oftana on Zach Lofton. You're putting
B-ball IQ and leadership. Baka mukhang Oftana muna tayo dito though. Actually, you can bundle B-ball IQ and leadership, no? Kasi parang
I think you gotta go
B-ball IQ.
Oftana just
Shit, wait lang.
because.
B-ball IQ.
Here's my reasoning. If Kevin Quiambao doesn't have the basketball, how good is Kevin Quiambao? Okay, if Kevin Quiambao is not facilitating an offense or spotting up in the corner, you personally, I've never seen Kevin Quiambao really go for offensive rebounds, really cut to the rim, or really set those hard screens. Kevin Quiambao is an on-ball player, passes very well, rebounds very well defensively. But when you watch Calvin Oftana's games, I don't know if you know this, but Calvin Oftana actually has, I don't know how many times I've seen it. He's had like 4, 5, or 6 game-winning buzzer beaters, game-winning, just off of offensive rebound putbacks,
Actually, yeah, the B-ball
right?
IQ of...
So the fact that Calvin Oftana can do so much even without the ball, is where I have to give it to Calvin in terms of B-ball IQ. And for leadership, to be fair, you will not.
Yeah,
You
what
have
do
not.
you
We have not
observe?
seen. We have not
Yeah,
seen
what...
Calvin Oftana yet in that role because when you're surrounded by Jason Castro, you are not
Actually,
gonna
hindi ka
be.
masyado. Hindi
Yeah,
ka masyado maka... So, sa
yeah.
leadership,
I would leave this as an equal thing because we just haven't seen
equal.
both. Yeah,
So,
I would say it's
tie.
equal. Yeah, it ends up
2-2-1.
as 2-2. 2-2, 2-2. Right?
Hindi, 2-2-1. Kasi, di ba tie?
Yeah, 2-2-1.
2-2-1.
Yeah,
So, tie siya
2-2.
with Oftana right now.
Yeah, personally. Just
Okay, next
because
up. Oh yeah,
both don't
finish.
have the
Go, go,
opportunity yet.
go.
They don't have the opportunity yet to show their leadership. Calvin, I don't think he had an opportunity when he was in NLEX. If I'm trying to remember it correctly, he did not really have the opportunity
Nah, he's really just,
to.
this is a super scorer. This is our do-it-all
Yeah,
guy. But it's not
exactly.
like, hey Calvin, what do we do now?
Yeah,
It's not like
yeah,
that. Walang ganun. Wala pang time
exactly.
na yun. Because
So
Kiefer
both
was, nagsabi ba sila ni Kiefer?
They did. I think for like a year long.
Nagsabay
Just
ba
for
sila?
yeah, but at the time, because Calvin was a rookie, like a rookie.
Mm.
He had Jericho Cruz, he had Kevin Alas. It was not gonna go. Most of the things will run through them before it goes to Calvin. So I think it's equal just because of the fact that they both haven't had the opportunity to be that leader.
Mm-hmm. So it's 2-2-1 with
Yeah.
Oftana. Dude, I really thought before the start of this episode, I felt like, just felt lang naman na tambakan. Kasi mga stars na, di ba? Ako rin, wait lang, matatambakan to. Ba't pa kami gagawa ng
I was
podcast?
gonna
Feel ko
say the same thing.
matatambakan lang to.
I was gonna say
Pero, so far, KQ has lost, quote unquote. I mean, please turn on your video. Kasi may video podcast naman to eh. Has lost to Ball. We have given Bolick and Newsome the edge over KQ for obvious
yeah.
reasons. Perez and Oftana tie. Hindi, actually, KQ beat Perez in the 5 categories we gave.
Yeah.
Oftana, it's a
So
tie. Technically,
it's a
tie
tie.
sila. 2 2
Yes.
1 Parang ganun.
Yes. Okay. Now
Christian
we go.
Stan Hardinger.
Okay. Here we gotta take this in levels. Okay. Christian
Score,
Steinhardt.
bibigay ko kay KQ. Go give
Scoring,
your
I think,
spiel about Mr. C Stan.
as a Ginebra fan, I love Christian Steinhardinger. Okay, Christian Steinhardinger will get you a bucket in the paint. I preface this by saying in the paint. Okay, if Christian Steinhardinger is in the paint, most
Matik.
probably he
Pag
is gonna
nasa
score.
gilas yan, Matik.
Yeah, hey, even if it looks ugly as hell, Christian Steinhardinger is gonna score in the paint if it's what's it called? If he's in the paint.
Mm-hmm.
But Kevin Quiambao, I think, is trending towards 3-level scorer.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen his shooting go absolutely insane this year for DSU. This year, if you left him wide open, I'm 100% sure Kevin Quiambao is making a 3-point shot. Right? Same
Kita
as
nyo naman sa
him,
Dubai.
strong. Yeah. And it's because of hard work. We know Kevin Quiambao put in the work
But wait,
during the
sa
offseason.
Dubai din kasi, to give more clarity, yung focus ng defense is on the imports.
Yes,
But
that's
what's
true.
great is that he's making his open shots. Because it's
Yeah,
gonna be a problem if he doesn't make his
he's
open
making.
shots.
Yeah, so we still gotta give him his credit for that. He is wide
Uh,
open, but he still gotta make the wide open shot.
mm-hmm.
So in scoring, we gotta go. I think personally, I go Kevin Quiambao just because
By a small margin. Kasi yung lead
that's how
ni C
yeah
Stan
how
sa
good.
paint.
Yes, exactly. So how good Christian Sandhardinger is compared to Kevin Quiambao in the paint. Ang layo, sobrang layo in the paint, But
Mm-hmm.
once it becomes outside the paint, Kevin Quiambao is just dominant from there. That's not to say Christian Sandhardinger does have a mid-range jumper sometimes.
He does sometimes. But it's not
Inconsistent,
like
but
hinahanap niya yun. Di ba? It's
exactly.
like,
Exactly. Christian can create his own shot. So it is incredibly close considering that Christian Sandhardinger doesn't have a semblance of a 3-point shot. It is that close, but we gotta give it to Kevin Quiambao.
facts.
Yeah.
Passing. C Stan has
I
a
will give it a tie.
underrated passing.
I would give it a tie.
Would you say underrated? Because
I just think
parang tie rin eh, no?
Yeah,
I
think
would say it's a tie from what I have seen from C Stan.
Yeah, C-Stan's passing, especially in the Tim Cone system, is perfect, right? Perfect for finding off-ball cutters and all that. So I think Christian Sandhardinger and Kevin Quiambao tie in that regard just because they
Tie
both
sila
pass
sa
well.
passing.
I think so.
So far, KQ gets the nod in scoring, tie, and passing. Defense.
Kevin Quiambao, I'm sorry.
Kevin
I'm sorry,
Quiambao.
Christian. I'm so sorry,
You
Christian.
would say that's a weakness for... Would you say it's a weakness or
I would say
may
it's a
edge
weakness
lang?
for Christian.
It's a
No,
weakness.
I would say it's a Christian Sandhardinger weakness. That's why you have Japet Aguilar.
Si Stan though, bumabawi sa physicality though. Diba? Talagang he tries to get in your head. But since
Yeah,
this is
so
just
here- yeah.
defense, like
Here's the thing. If
in a
you're-
vacuum, defense.
Yeah. Here's the thing. If Christian Sandhardinger is defending Kevin Quiambao, he is gonna frustrate Kevin Quiambao to certain levels, right? Because
Oh,
C-Stand
it's
he's
also
not
way
the-
taller than him.
Yeah.
Six,
And
six,
C-Stand's
nine.
not gonna block your shots.
He's not.
C-Stand's
He's just
not
gonna
gonna-
frustrate you. He's gonna make your head.
He's just gonna frustrate you.
Inis ka lang talaga sa kanya.
Yeah, he's gonna be like, dang. I remember when he was against Nick Rakocevic in the playoffs.
Inis yung Rakocevic, diba? Parang,
Yeah. Rakocevic was incredibly pissed at C-Stand just because C-Stand, like, he just gets in your head. He's physical
Yeah.
as hell. He puts in a lot of effort. But again, slight. Just because of effort that Christian Hardinger puts, you gotta give it, I still think, to Kevin Quiambao in terms of defensive skill.
So ano score ngayon? 2-1.
2-0-1.
Ay, no, no, no,
2-0-1.
no. 2-0-1. Yeah, yeah. 2 to KQ, 1 tie in passing. Basketball IQ, I feel like this is where C-Stan gets the
I
edge.
think in
People
both.
IQ.
I think in both
You
people
think
like
it's a
you and
tie? You
leadership.
think it's a
No, no, I think in
tie?
both people like you and leadership, you go with Christian
C-Stan.
Hardinger.
Yan.
Yeah.
Kasi to
Because
play in a triangle in a coach team system, you
you
have to be
gotta be bad.
intelligent. You
You gotta
can't be
be
a stupid
intelligent.
big.
You
Kasi kung
cannot.
tanga-tanga ka dyan,
You
hindi ka
cannot.
playing time.
You cannot. And as a Sabres fan, we've seen it a lot of times. Christian Hardinger demands accountability from his
So,
teammates.
yeah. Mm.
Christian Hardinger demands
Exact.
accountability from
Naririnig
his
ko yun. Di ba when we watch games,
yeah.
ingay si Stan Hardy. In a good way. I meant that in a good
Demands it.
way.
Demands it. And I don't know if you remember the time when Christian was kind of still new to the Philippines. There was that game where it was, I think, C games or ASEAN games, where I think it was Kiefer or Roger Pagoy was about to get into a fist fight with another
Keeper and
country.
Pagoy.
Oh no, Kiefer or Pagoy, we're gonna get into a fist fight with some other country. And Christian Hardinger went in the middle of everyone and just stood there. He just stood there. He turned himself into a block.
Parang
Just
wag na,
and
wag
that
na.
shows at that point that he was new. He was at that point kind of new to fit the Philippine basketball. At that point, he was an import pa nga. I think
Oh,
I'm not
kinuha
super
natin
sure.
siya sa import. Yeah.
Yeah,
Di ba
parang naturalized.
siya or Pringle? Siya pa yung
Yeah,
siya or Pringle yung kinuha natin dati.
that was the point. Nah, and for somebody to do that as a person who isn't really known in the Philippines yet, and for someone to do that for teammates who he probably has never played for before, you gotta give the leadership part, especially the leadership part. People like you, we can toss it up between the two of them. But leadership, Christian Stan Hardinger has proven time and time again that he is an incredible leader for his team.
And we have seen that. I have seen that from the Gilas days up to now. All the more. I mean, as you age, it's right up there. So, C-Stan. Shit's tie ba? Wait,
It is
it's
currently,
tie.
yeah, it ends up as tied 2-2. Ends up
It's
as tied
2-2. 2-2-1. 2 for C-Stan
And
sa B-Ball IQ leadership.
it's easily
KQ
that.
scoring and defense. Passing sila
Yeah, like that.
nagka-tie.
Yeah.
So 2-2-1.
Oh, these
Okay.
next two are gonna be
Crazy.
the next
And I
two.
feel ko yung uli madali, yung next yung mahirapan. Junmar Fajardo. The next guy is Junmar Fajardo. Now at this age, Junmar Fajardo age, you have to take into account the injuries as well. That's taking
Yeah,
into 34 na si Junmar. Our boy is
24 plus si June.
34 na si Junmar.
34. I thought he was a lot older than that. Anyway, so he's only older than Chris by 1 year.
Yeah, but yun nga, I
Yeah.
think it's the toll of the injuries
Yeah.
that which made us think na wait, wait lang.
Go lang.
I have to
Hey,
post this lang.
go lang. Take your time. Anyway, I'll just add on that. Okay. Uh, Obviously we're gonna say some things in this part where it's gonna feel incredibly blasphemous that we're gonna take Kevin Quiambao in some facets of the game compared to Julmar Fajardo. People are gonna call blasphemy on that. But you guys need to understand this is that Julmar Fajardo is, in my opinion, is the PBA equivalent of Shaquille O'Neal in the NBA. Literal, not in terms of skill and all that, but in terms of unstoppable force is where Junmar Fajardo is probably there. So obviously, even at when we talk about prime Junmar Fajardo, he clears a lot of people. I think when we talk about prime Junmar Fajardo, he's won what 6, 7, 8 MVPs. He's probably top one, top two, top three in the PBA all time. So before we get into these 5 categories, I just needed to make that clear. Junmar Fajardo is still Junmar Fajardo. Junmar Fajardo is probably one of the goats, if not the goat of PBA basketball. So we gotta pay the respect to him in that regard. Yeah.
So sa scoring kay Junmar.
Yeah, I mean, even at this age,
Iba yung kay Junmar eh. No? Nakita natin sa World Cup yan eh.
we saw it in the World Cup against Carl
Nakita
Anthony
natin,
Towns.
wala
Again,
siyang,
I'm so sorry, man. But Junmar Fajardo, even in even if Junmar Fajardo is 38 years old, I think he can still be a contributing Gilas member. Ganyan kagaling si Junior Fajardo
Yo,
offensively.
sakto. There's an article that just released right now by Tiebreaker Times. UAE expresses interest in naturalizing Kevin Quiambao. And Kevin
Woo!
Quiambao said, I'll listen to it. Syempre, nakakaya naman if di ko sila pakinggan, di ba?
Damn.
They
I
see
doubt. First of
talent.
all, KQ is not gonna leave the Philippines.
Ulul
KQ
gago.
is not. No, I mean like
Tayo na
to
batuhan
be
ka
a
na 20 million.
naturalized.
Hindi ko sinasabi ito yung offer Pero sabihin natin batuhan siya ng ano bang realistic na pwede ibato sa kanya ng mga Saudi oil magnates.
I still think I don't know. Personally, I'm a kind of I'm a country sap, I guess you could say, in the regard of if you had the opportunity to play for your country, I still think you're gonna choose to play for your country. And I think Kevin Quiambao probably, even if he's offered to be a naturalized player, which is absolutely insane by the way for a Filipino to be a naturalized player, I still think he'd stay in the Philippines just because he could be that guy in the future for the Philippines, right?
That's a different
Uh,
topic altogether. We're gonna
yeah.
discuss that
Anyway,
in a different podcast. That's
yeah.
just crazy. So,
Wow, it's crazy
scoring,
though. We
bibigyan natin kay
Junmar,
Junmar.
even at this age. And let's not pretend like Junmar Fajardo doesn't hasn't improved this game. Junmar Fajardo's hit threes.
How many time MVP to? Too many to count. That's all
Too
I
many
can
to
say.
count. Too many to count, dude. Junmar.
Too many to count.
There was a point in when I was watching and I was growing up in
Parang pwede mo
which
na i-assume the BPC
Junmar
si Junmar
Fajardo.
Pardo.
And
Hindi mo na
growing
tinatanong
up,
Ang
growing
tanong,
up as
gaano
a Helena
kalayo
fan,
yung lead
dude.
niya? Gaano kalayo yung lead niya?
Layo, pre. As
At
in,
pag wala siya sa
growing up,
BPC, injured si Junmar.
oh,
Dalawa lang naman yun eh.
as
Injured ba
insane.
siya? If not, gaano kalayo yung lead niya sa
I'm so
MVP
sorry.
stuff?
At the end of the day, growing up, if your game was against Junmar Fajardo, your assumption as a fan was that you're probably gonna lose that game. And it doesn't matter who you're putting up against them. And people tried their hardest, but Junmar Fajardo in his prime, even now, is basically an unstoppable force. Especially now in his career, he's added that 3 point shot, which is crazy. He's kind of consistent with it. He's had a mid range for a long time, and he has that touch from the free throw line. Junmar Fajardo scoring is still there.
Passing. Junmar though has underrated passing. Pero
Mm,
interior passing yung kay nakikita ko, yung mga drop pass. Pero I don't
uh,
know, ikaw, as a fan of the SMB slash Jin
I think
franchise.
I think Kevin Quiambao.
Okay.
And here I can explain why. It might be a weird reason, but Junmar Fajardo is defended by two people most of the time. Okay. Junmar Fajardo is defended by two people most of the time. You will require a double team against Junmar Fajardo. Kaya nga siya scoring leader. Kaya nga siya natin siya binigay na scoring. So, to find, it's much easier to find an open man, a literal wide open man, as compared to what KQ has to do, where he has to create the pass or create the shot for his teammate. You feel? It's like giving the ball to of what's it called? Not a black hole, like a vortex. When you give it to Junmar Fajardo, people will get drawn in the Junmar. So somebody will be wide open. With Kevin Quiambao, he is the one finding these people wide open. He's creating the shots easier for them. So I think that's why you got to still give it to Kevin Quiambao in terms of passing.
1-1.
1-1.
Defense. KQ
Oh,
ako baka KQ bigay ko dito, man. Because
yeah, probably.
that's
At this
always
point,
been the, at this point,
at this point, yeah,
at this point, the age of Junmar is not working
yeah. He's
in
not
his
that. He
favor.
doesn't.
Dami ng
Yeah, this is where.
injuries.
Mhm. This is where the
Uh,
wear and tear is shown talaga.
yan yung
Na
tinarget ng teams sa World Cup.
yeah,
But
even in
good
the
thing
PBA,
yung offense ni Junmar sobrang, like, where did that come
nababawi niya,
from?
no? Nababawi niya.
Pero prior to the World Cup, nobody thought na
Kaya pa.
matatapatan niya. Sa offense, sa offense.
Yeah, honestly, I think I remember seeing something about it before also about Junmar still
Mhm.
getting those NBA nods for the summer league. I think I saw it before, something like that. There's somebody like scouts were looking at him, and that was when he was still already kind of old, not like old, but like basketball old. So in terms of defense, at this point right now, it is kind of a no-brainer to give it to Kevin Quiambao just because Junmar Fajardo cannot move as much as he could have before. Now, in terms of basketball IQ, in terms of leadership, you're not gonna be a multi-time uncountable MVP winner if you don't have some of the best basketball IQ and some of the best leadership um, in the game. So I think Miles, especially with his age, yeah, we talked about, and his experience, he's been playing with Gilas since he was young, and now he's kind of the elder statesman in Gilas. Malayo, basketball IQ and leadership has to go to Junmar Fajardo.
Tama. And Junmar 3-2. Junmar has the
Yep.
edge over KQ.
Yep.
And at this age, 34 to
24
22.
to
So,
22.
pero if compare natin yung prime Junmar, malayo I think.
Malayo, malayo.
I think, yeah, medyo malayo.
Malayo. I mean, it's hard to say kasi syempre, the game has evolved a lot. You're not gonna see Junmar shooting those threes before. Pero yun,
Mhm.
as it's still gotta go Junmar right now.
Oh, the last one, your favorite, Scotty
Oh boy.
Thompson versus
Okay.
Kevin Quiambao.
All right.
Tawa ka dyan, gago ka. Sa
All
scoring,
right.
bibigyan ko kay KQ yan.
Okay.
Oh, bakit?
Okay. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it.
Sige, pag-usapan natin.
Let's talk about it. Scotty Thompson, Kevin Quiambao is just taller Scotty Thompson. Okay?
Gago?
Kevin,
Seryoso ka ba?
by a lot. Dude, they do the same thing. I mean, not exactly the same player, but they do basically the same things for their team. They score, they defend, they shoot, they take big shots, they rebound the ball, they pass the ball. Kevin Quiambao and Scotty Thompson are basically the same mold. It's just that Scotty Thompson's shorter. But who has the more skill in these parts? You said scoring. You're gonna give it to Kevin Quiambao.
Hmm.
Ha.
Mas
I gotta
knockdown,
disagree.
mas knock... We? Puta na. Di
I
tayo
gotta
magkaintindi.
disagree. So,
So,
I
so dito
I
na tayo
think
nagkahiwalay. Because for me,
I think.
scoring, then again, you know your player more than me. You know
I mean,
Scotty more.
even if it's just that I think Scotty Thompson is the Ginebra offense. Scott, Scotty Thompson is carrying the ball for Ginebra most of the time, right? We've seen it
But we're
multiple
just
times.
talking about scoring. We're just talking about scoring.
Okay, that's
Just
the beauty.
pure scoring ability.
I still think Scotty Thompson. Personally, I still think Scotty Thompson just
O
because
sige, for you, kay Scotty is the scoring. Akin, KQ.
KQ. I think we have. I think this will be something we'll be able to agree on. Just because Scotty's quite underrated as a scorer because you don't even know him as a scorer. But some things KQ is better at than him in terms of scoring. I think there are
Kaya
other
nga tayo,
parts.
di tayo
Yeah,
nag-match dito sa
yeah.
scoring.
And
Passing.
I watched Scotty. I watched Scotty ever since. So I'm very high on Scotty Thompson, obviously. Passing, I want to see where you go with passing.
Ano?
Saan ka sa
Scotty
passing?
ka?
Saan ka muna? I want to see where you are with
No,
passing.
I'm with Scotty.
Okay.
Scotty talaga ako sa passing.
Okay.
Hindi
Okay.
ako...
Okay.
I think it
At
also helps
least
that Scotty is with Ginebra.
Tim. Yeah, of course.
Talagang.
Scotty. But yeah, at least he passed up on that. Because passing, I think, is
Is this
still
the
Scotty
first
Thompson.
na a player in the PBA has surpassed Kevin Quiambao in passing? Ay, hindi. Tie pala siya sa ano. Tie
Ay,
siya
siya with
with
C-Stan.
Bolik. Ay, hindi. Bolik has the edge over him sa
Bolick
passing
has the
pa.
edge over him. Newsom has the
Okay.
KQ has the edge over Newsom.
So
KQ has the
Scotty
edge
takes
over CJ.
passing.
I think
Scotty
Scotty
takes
thinks.
passing. So
I
for
think
me, 1-1. Sa'yo, 2-0 na, Scotty.
yeah. Yeah. I think Scotty takes passing.
How about defense?
Point guard. Oh, here's the thing. It depends on who you need him to defend.
Pero si
Right?
Scotty nilalagay mo sa import, di ba? Si Maras Powell ba? Hindi, kay Nards Pinto nilagay si Powell, di ba?
Pareho lang yan. But they both took the assignment. So,
Who did... So,
hmm,
ito. So, Maras Powell, would you put a... Ilang taon na ba si Scotty ngayon? Scotty
I think
Thompson.
here. So,
30 na si Scotty. Would you put 30-year-old Scotty on Miles Powell or a 22-year-old KQ?
ooh.
You have to
um,
think about their size din, ah. You have to think about their
yeah,
height, their build.
okay. Okay. Oof. Feel ko maluluto ako dito ng Ginebra fans. Pero, I think Kevin Quiambao right now is probably a better defender. Right now,
Okay.
ha? Because
Okay.
Scotty is getting up there and we don't, admittedly, ha, with the loss of LA Tenorio for a while, because of what he went through, which finally he's done with it. With the loss of Jeremiah Gray, with the slow, but very slow decline of Japet Aguilar. Um, Scotty Thompson has to take a lot more on offense. Granted that he has a lot of help with Maverick Ahamnisi and Jamie Malonzo. So I think we've seen a regression in defense for Scotty just because he needs to exert more on offense.
Actually,
Right? So that's why I think you go KQ because you can put him on Miles Powell and he will focus on defending Miles Powell. Basically, that's how we can see it. Or Jack Lofton in that regard.
shit, Zach Lofton. The man of
That's,
the hour, Zach
that's
Lofton. Kasi
Jack Lofton is the reason this podcast is happening.
actually, this Zach Lofton.
Jack Lofton.
Anyway, pero ito malayo na B-ball IQ and leadership. I think that's a runaway for Scotty Thompson and we kind of set up KQ for this matchup. But pero lumaban siya sa scoring, passing and defense. Pero
Talagang
B-ball IQ
lalaban.
and leadership at this point dito na I mean, Tim Cone loves Scotty
Yeah, we gotta set
for
the
all
precedent.
obvious reasons. Hindi to up for debate right now.
Yeah.
Hindi to
We
up for
gotta set the
debate,
precedent
John.
that Scotty Thompson has had the incredible opportunity of being under Tim Cone for his entire
Hindi,
PBA
ito
career.
rin. Hindi siya madadraft ni Tim ko. Ito, pwede ka madraft sa Ginebra, but you won't be able to play in a rotation in Ginebra if you're stupid. If you're
Yeah,
if you're a player who doesn't know especially
you're
as a
not getting
guard, as a guard
as
in
Tim
hindi
Cone's
mo alam
point
anong
guard.
gagawin. Gago.
As Tim Cone's point guard, di mo alam
Oo.
gagawin mo.
Siguro
Imposible.
kung hindi siya matalino, LA Tenorio will still be starting. Tim Cone will choose LA Tenorio.
Malay.
Scotty, tsaka muna. Tsaka muna.
Scotty.
Rebound ka na lang, ma'am.
And here's what we have to add to that regard is that joining Ginebra is not an easy feat. Considering
Ang
what
taas ng
he entered,
standards.
that was after the Kagiwa Helterbrand era,
So the pressure
where
was on? Was the pressure was higher ba?
it
After
wasn't
pero pababa.
exactly. Pababa na sila nun, syempre. At that point, parang they were having, that's why they got the second pick. I forgot what pick Scotty was. That's why they were able to get him at that point. Because at that point, nagre-regress na talaga sila Mark Cargiwa. Because the age. Age will always matter in this game. And so, we can basically call right now, funnily enough, you can call Scotty Thompson a folk hero for Ginebra. Right? Or even just in Philippine basketball. And in this regard, we talked about it before this. We didn't include it in our criteria. But one of the things we talked about was marketability, right? We
Oh
talked
yeah,
about
marketability.
marketability
Yes.
as a
Oo nga
player.
pala.
Scotty Thompson is the most marketable Philippine basketball player because he is not tall. He was not given the God-given height of Junmar Fajardo. He was not given the height of Kai Soto, AJ Edu, even Kevin Quiambao. But Scotty Thompson is one of the best rebounders in the PBA, one of the best, I think, MVP siya? Back-to-back MVP? I forgot, sorry. So a lot of young Filipino fans relate a lot to Scotty Thompson because he doesn't have the height, but Scotty Thompson basically, it sounds like the cliche, but he does have the heart of basically, that's why people love him. He has the heart to get people to love him that much.
And that's pretty much it, no? The leadership in basketball IQ, masyadong malayo yung lead ni Scotty Thompson. So he takes the cake here. Even though the KQ got the score sa akin, scoring. Pero just by a small margin. I feel like Scotty has the malayo at this point. Like malayo talaga. Scotty Thompson in a way you would say is irreplaceable.
Yeah, and let's be real. We haven't been fair. We're not being fair to Kevin Quiambao in this video at all because
No,
he's
it's more
23.
it's
He's
yeah,
a
I
college
mean
player.
our main topic anyway is how close is
Yeah,
he?
how close is he? So these are players in the PBA who um are dominating the league. And for Kevin Quiambao to be like, I think I've said this again kanina, but he shouldn't be in these conversations at his age, right? He shouldn't be in these conversations of is he the best local Philippine player? he shouldn't be in that conversation at his age or at his
And ito
point in his
Mario,
career.
like the UAE national team wants to naturalize him. If that
Exactly.
team
If
didn't
that
see
doesn't show
anything
you
in him,
something, yeah.
yung mga na-naturalize usually are the Americans.
Americans, yeah.
The
Like,
Americans, the Europeans, the Australians, and the New Zealanders. Those are
because I don't
wait,
know,
Kiwis, New Zealanders, Kiwis, and the
Kiwis.
Kiwis.
Have we seen any Filipino
Filipino
player
na
be
naturalized.
naturalized? Don't.
Think about it.
I
Wait,
haven't
wait, wait.
heard of it. I don't think so. But I haven't heard of it.
Wala. I
Personally,
don't. As of right now, I haven't
wala, no?
thought of
Exactly.
any Filipino
So
na naturalized.
that in itself just shows to you right now, Kevin Quiambao is the is the number one rising star in the Philippines. Okay, it's not close. Siyempre, we will have conversations about Justin Baltazar. We'll have conversations
Carl
about Carl.
Tamayo.
We'll have conversations about Jacob Cortez even maybe. You can have conversations about so many of these people who are on the way up. Arvin Tolentino, Jason Perkins, but Kevin Cambao right now, if you ask me, is the number one on the way up in the Philippines. And uh, this also comes into the fact that we haven't seen Balti play in a while in uh, in big atmospheres. The last time we saw Balti play was with Strong Now and in the MPBL, where admittedly he towers over everyone by a
Mhm.
few feet. We haven't seen Carl Tamayo ever since he left for Japan. So obviously things could change. We haven't seen Kai Soto ever since he left for Japan also. We haven't seen
Mhm.
AJ Edu ever since he got injured. So all these things right now are basically we are saying this because we see KQ put in the work. We see KQ dominate in the leagues he's in, and we see KQ right now showing that number one. He if he declared for the PBA draft today, he's the number one pick. If he wants a spot in Gilas, he should get the spot no matter what. And like what we just found out kanina while we were recording this, he is actually being requested to be a naturalized player, which is
Insane.
miles
Which is
above the level,
insane.
right? Miles above the level of what we expect from somebody at this point in their career.
So yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. That's our conversation on how close Kevin Kimbao is to your local PBA stars. Don't forget if you're listening to this on YouTube, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, turn on the notification bell. Or if you're listening to this on Spotify, click the follow button and make sure to give us a 5-star rating. This is
Yeah.
Nico. It's Mario. See you guys next
What's up?
time.
Watch it again tomorrow.